Today we're out in the forest. It's the wet season. As you can see, it started raining here in Washington. And if you want to go camping, chances are you're going to be trying to start a fire when it's damp and wet outside. So we'll be running through some ways today to help you be more successful at that. And really the first step to being successful in starting a fire when it's wet out is to take your time and be patient. Even when it's dry, starting a log without breaking it into smaller pieces is really, really difficult, and it's especially important when it's wet outside. What I have here are kind of differing levels of firewood. I've got some wet, very dry, or wet, very small kindling that I collected from the woods around here. And I want to note too that firewood collection is not allowed at all campgrounds, so make sure to check the rules and regulations on where you're headed. Here it is. And what you want to do when you're selecting wood to make sure, because it's really wet on the outside, you want to make sure it breaks and has a nice snap sound, and that way you know that it's dry on the inside. But I have a nice pile of that. And then what I did is I went through and I took one of my logs and I broke it into smaller pieces using a hatchet. You can also use a large knife for that, but honestly a hatchet is the best tool for it. And you'll see from the way that I cut it up that I'm not swinging the hatchet towards my hand. I'm using another log to kind of break it into smaller pieces and as a hammer. In terms of the size that you want to break the wood into, there's a couple different levels. This on this side is what I would consider kindling. These pieces here, my lint or my cardboard is my tinder, so that's what the lighter is initially going to ignite. And then you want to step up in sizes just really, really small. If it was like drizzling out right now, I probably would have broken these even in half again. And like the smaller it is, the easier it's gonna be to ignite. I like building a little bit of a structure first and then tucking my tinder under it, especially if it's raining out. Adding my dry cardboard needs to be the last thing that I do. And so I'll start by giving myself a little bit of structure. The next step's prepping my tinder. If you just stick a cereal box, or in this case a chocolate bar box in there, just like the wood, it's not gonna burn that well. I wanna create a lot of surface area. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of process all this and tear it up. Have more materials ready to go than you think you're gonna need, so you're not running around trying to collect more as your fire is burning down. If it's raining out, one thing you can do as you make this is kind of prep it and put it in a bag to keep it dry until you load it into the fire. Now this I'm gonna use start my next level of wood, and you see I've got it kind of the second layer up. Like I said, nothing wet is actually going to light on fire until it dries, and so this will give it a little bit of a chance to dry, and I'll be able to load more wood on top of it. Because things are a little wet, I'm going to use just a little piece of lint, and that's going to be my tinder I'm going to light. I think with some patience, just lighting that cardboard is fine too. You want to go up in sizes really slowly. If I even with this fire going how it is right now, if I threw another log on it that was one of the size of these base logs, it wouldn't probably catch on fire. All the small stuff would burn out, and I just kind of have a charred log sitting there on top. And so that's why I've got this next size ready to go. I think I lucked out and got a piece of wood with a little bit of sap in it too. So it's going real well.